just me.
Welcome one and all to Pandemonium Live, episode 12. We got Floyd, FP, Mike J, Patrick Thatcher, Ryan Reacts, and the elephant in the room. How y'all doing?
What?
It's Thacker, not Thatcher. I swear to God, man, it doesn't have a fucking H in it. I mean, goodness gracious. It's CK, not CH. Get it right. Just kidding, sorry. Ooh, I'm gonna get... What?
Boot him. Just boot him.
Let's call him Santa. It's easier.
Okay, let's see what we got on tap tonight. Oh, this looks funny. We got Mary Lou. She believes President Obama was a homosexual prostitute and is running for Texas Board of Education.
So Texas is taking a step up with their Board of Education.
Hang on a second. I mean, it sounds like just the standard norm. You get crazy fucking people to run, education. Mary Lou Bruner is a retired teacher who lives in northern Texas. She's running for the State Board of Education in northeast Texas. Quote, we need concerned parents, grandparents, local businessmen, and educators to guide our education system. We do not need paid lobbyists in elected offices who profit from inside information and use their influence to help their clients. Okay. Sounds like a pretty canned Republican Tea Party style going on. Okay, and from her Facebook... Crap, hang on. Where was that statement? It's, Crap, now I want to act up now. Okay. Apparently she has some, like, conspiratorial beliefs about the government, and at the same time it's... You'd think that's weird, but that's not too uncommon.
Well, it's kind of funny that you bring this up because that hangout I was talking to you just before you went away for a bit, freaking Pillbox had actually said something about, recently there's some good evidence that Obama might be a homosexual, and I guess this is what they're pointing to. This is...
Oh, okay. Here, I finally got it. It's from her secured Facebook page. Thank fuck. Okay. Yeah. That is crazy about Pillbox. He's retarded. Anyway, Obama has a soft spot for homosexuals because of the years he spent as a male prostitute in his 20s. That is how he paid for his drugs. He has admitted he was addicted to drugs when he was young, and he's sympathetic with homosexuals, which is funny given the fact that he was actually harder on gay marriage until recent years. But neither here nor there with reality. But he hasn't come out of the closet about his own homosexual/bisexual playground. He hasn't quite evolved that much. Since he supports gay marriage, he should be proud of his background as a homosexual/bisexual. He is against everything else the Christian stands for. You might as well be in for infidelity. Holy shit balls, that's some crazy made up type of stuff. She spoke with the San Antonio Current, and in true Yosemite Sam form, she had to say, I'm not ashamed of anything I've ever said, Bruner said. If I'm on the State Board of Education, I'm going to speak up for things that I believe because I have a First Amendment right. What do y'all think about this so far?
I think the crux of it is that she's running for the State Board of Education. So when we educate people, we want to educate them with facts and not just random fucking mumblings.
Right. I look at the paragraph right at the beginning. We need concerned parents, grandparents, and local businessmen and educators. We only need them if they know what the fuck they're talking about. If they don't know what they're doing or saying, the fact that they're concerned and local means absolutely nothing. In that case, someone who's a paid lobbyist who actually knows what's going on is actually preferable to some just random assholes who think they know better.
What I find kind of, funny is she mentions her First Amendment right, freedom of speech, and she can say basically whatever she wants because that's her freedom. And she's also the same person that will scream persecution when somebody disagrees with her. So as long as her rights are being,
Also, that thing about Obama saying he was addicted to drugs. When did he ever say that? All I ever heard was that he smoked weed once in a while in college.
I think it was in his books
Okay.
that he talks about it. But I mean, if you look further, it talks about, how her views on Noah's Ark and freaking climate change. So she is absolutely scientifically illiterate, and has no business on being the board of any kind of education.
What are we talking about now?
Any creationist?
This Mary
yeah.
Lou Bruner, who figures for some reason has the inside track on Obama's young life as a male prostitute.
And she's running for Texas State School Board.
And she'll probably get elected because
Well, it's a good thing we don't live in Texas.
what's amazing is when they teach this stuff in the public schools, right, and kids are taught this as a fact, right, and then this kid that got an A in science, right, wants to go to college and study science, right, and they don't understand what science is to begin with because they've gotten all their science in the fucking Bible, so.
Yeah, I'm like right now. I'm in kind of an argument with somebody talking about. Wait, is this on the subject? Never mind. I don't think it's on the subject. I didn't change the subject.
Yeah, I don't know of any actual evidence of Obama being homosexual. He, thankfully has, helped with equal rights and equal marriage, which is fantastic, but that doesn't say anything about his sexual preference, nor why we should care about it, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Because God forbade it and said you shall be put to death. So.
Well, you see, President Obama is working for the evil, satanic, Illuminati gay agenda.
I still want to know what the militant gay mafia uniforms look like.
I'm sure they're amazing.
I'm sure they are.
But yeah, I would love to know where she's getting all this from. Like what
From
evidence?
her ass.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, what do you think? She's got writers in a back room going, "Hey, here's one for you. Try this out on the crowd." I mean, yeah, they make up shit, man. I mean, just look this since this Justice Scalia died. Oh fuck! Now Obama had him assassinated, and they did some kind of pagan ritual with his real body, and yeah, and there's people that fucking believe that shit, and then they wonder why when people make fun of them, they go, "You're not giving us."
I snuck into Scalia's room, one thrust with a sharp poker into his heart area, and he's dead. That was it.
Yep, I was there with him, and I skull fucked the corpse.
Yeah, and then I was out of there before anybody knew.
Well,
so now we get an atheist on the Supreme Court. Hope it's me.
I'm in the case of legitimate, I'm almost kind of rooting for liberal viewer.
Or at least somebody who can leave their Bible at the door. I mean, really.
That's not going to happen. That's not going to happen in much politics anymore until a lot of things get changed.
When a couple of months ago, when the new Canadian government was formed, a new party sort of took over. 50% of the ministers refused to swear on the Bible. 50%.
I wouldn't swear on the Bible.
No, I wouldn't either.
Yeah,
but the politicians.
One of the most immoral books ever written.
And 50% of our ministers are women.
That's fantastic, actually.
Yeah.
Actually, I would swear on the Bible, but by that I mean I would actually stand on the Bible and then swear.
And go, fuck!
I would swear on the Bible if it was burning and it hurt me and burnt me. Ow! Fuck!
See, I think that's the problem. Like you saying, 50% are female. I think that's fantastic because there's so many complaints in the United States about equality and stuff like that. It's like, oh, we're not properly represented. Well, then fucking run and vote for females instead of sitting there and just crying about
Yeah.
it.
Well,
Yeah.
then sometimes if you tell somebody just to go vote for a female, right? You get that lady that's running for that, Board of Education in Texas. So just because, it comes back to voting for the right
You're
candidate.
still not going to do any worse if you vote for a female, no
You
matter who.
shouldn't.
Right. Who if they fuck or get fucked is neither here nor there.
You shouldn't vote for somebody because of vagina. I mean, it's
I
the
do.
whole
Well,
thing
no.
it's the whole thing with Hillary Clinton. People are coming out against people who are saying what I just said.
No. For this coming election, both Donald Trump and Bernie Sanders have vaginas.
But that's why I added that second part. Run yourself. There's nothing stopping you from running for public office, whatever it may be.
I'm voting for Bernie.
I'm voting for Bernie, except I can't vote.
And,
So you're are you feeling the burn or playing with the clitoris?
I'm feeling the burn.
Actually, I'm pulling for Canada for president in 2016.
I'm voting for a different election system.
Not only will Canada be president, the Mormon Church will be the dominant religion on earth.
Who if Canada was elected president, who would they choose as their vice president? New Zealand?
No, Saudi Arabia.
Oh.
Well, that could be up in the air and everything. I mean,
No, who was the big fat crack addict that was all over the news?
in Toronto,
Toronto
Rob
mayor.
Ford. Rob Ford.
Yeah, he's
Well,
vice
I've heard
president.
his name in politics for a long time. I
Yeah,
think he's on the sidelines, or was dead, or something.
It wouldn't surprise me.
I think I should point out that as a 30-year-old, this will be the first time, like if Bernie actually gets to that point where it's going to be Bernie versus Trump, this will be the first time I've actually ever voted, I don't know. I've never felt it necessary.
I'm back. I'm back.
There's never been anybody really
Okay,
worthwhile.
let's see what I got now. What do I have? What do I have? David Barton, who is apparently a close personal friend of Glenn Beck.
Oh yeah.
He has a book out. Apparently about the history of the United States and how it's supposedly about Thomas Jefferson not being a deist, influenced by the Enlightenment, who all bang slaves, as a Christian nationalist, and that's crap. And it was highly criticized. David Barton was even questioned if he had a PhD or not, and he claimed he did, but at the same time he didn't. So and actually, it turns out that he has an honorary doctorate, but it's at the same college that I think one of the colleges that I think Kent Hovind went to. So you can take that with a grain of salt. There you go.
So
An
the Trevor
honorary-
Park College.
Yeah, an honorary doctorate from a fake college. That's fantastic.
Well,
Is
I
it a
would like
pop-up book?
I have an honorary master's from the Universalist Life Church of Modesto, California. I paid $50 for it. They gave me these pamphlets and this little book, and told me I had to fill out this thing, tell them I promised I read it, and I took this little easy test, and then they sent me the certificate. So,
If I could conceive that the general government might ever be so administered as to render the liberty of conscience insecure, I beg you will be persuaded that no one would be more zealous than myself to establish effectual barriers against the horrors of spiritual tyranny and every species of religious persecution. That is a quote from George Washington on the importance of making the United States a secular nation.
Yeah, and also little fun fact: Thomas Jefferson made his own version of the Bible. He kept all the moral stuff about Jesus and everything, which was kind of humanistic, and removed all the miraculous parts of it. So
Yeah.
Jeffersonian Bible right there.
Well, and Jefferson was the one that wrote the letter talking about the separation of church and state too. So this is not like something that he was. Obviously, he realized that religion wasn't a part of the government.
Yeah, and Barton's book about this is basically the least credible book in history according to experts, at least. So
What was that letter that was written? Remember, there was a time when the Mediterranean coast was full of pirates, the Barbary Coast, and the American government made some kind of a treaty with the pirates, who were Islamic, to sort of stop the piracy. And in that letter, it was stipulated that
you're talking about the Treaty of Tripoli?
yes.
Huh.
Thank you. Anyway, in that letter, it was stipulated that America is absolutely not a Christian country and doesn't hate Islam and blah 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 blah.
But, a lot of Christians will actually use that same document to claim that we are a Christian nation.
No, actually, I mean, I've heard Matt Slick actually. I made the point to Matt Slick that this is not a Christian nation according to the Treaty of Tripoli, and he said, the reason they had that done was for the sake of money. But I mean, he was arguing more or less against the interpretation. But the fact of the matter is,
money. The reason that religion exists is for the sake of money.
I mean, it's besides the point. I mean, it still says it's a secular nation. I mean, the reason they fundies don't like that is because it shuts down the entire argument right there.
Yeah, true.
All right, I got another one for you. Sorry, I've been researching for my debate with G-Man, so I got a few quotes on the screen here.
Why? No, damn that. Why? Why would you even do that?
I asked him the same question. Yeah, exactly.
It's got to be lulz.
He baited me into it basically, and I was deciding I don't have to do a lot of work to win this one, in my opinion.
Well,
so
yeah, but you play the game, man. Change the stipulations and stuff. And
also, he said he's going to try and get Creationist Cat to be the moderator, and I was more interested in that than G-Man, to be honest.
Okay, that might be funny.
Yeah, but you realize he could really.
What up?
Yeah, he could basically just wallow in his own feces and then claim victory at the end.
That's pretty much it. He's going to debate you, and he's going to totally wipe the floor with you and pwn you, and then he's going to make a video.
G-Man wins.
G-Man.
I mean, if Matt Dillahunty can't beat G-Man, what makes you think you can't, dude? I mean, And I swear I'm only kidding when I'm saying that.
But speaking of Thomas Jefferson,
God damn it.
In every country and in every age, the priest has been hostile to liberty. He is always in alliance with the despot, abetting his abuses in return for protection to his own. It is error alone that needs the support of government. Truth can stand by itself.
I have to read this to you guys. Hang on a minute. You're going to laugh at this. I'm arguing. Do any of you guys know who Westcott Downs is?
No.
He's a Hovenite. He's a cultist.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, it was like some sort of discussion with it was like him, me and Ryan, and then I believe two other people. MMA, I believe, was there as well. Yeah, it was really bad.
Well, we're arguing about Kent's accreditation from his shack in the desert. So I'm saying that Kent's degrees have absolutely no accreditation and carry no weight outside of the church. So this asshole tells me that Kent, because of tradition, since doctorates were established by Christians and Kent's doctorate would have more in line with established tradition than yours. He even accused me of stealing. I'm sorry, this is so fucking stupid. It's like throwing me off.
Take your time, man.
Take a deep breath. Brother,
Yeah.
we're here for you.
Situation.
Oh, yeah, here it is.
Individual.
Also, your accreditation, in quotes, origins are just as worthless for the same reason, and were probably established by evolutionists and atheists. So he's telling me that my degrees, I have a science degree, and I have a master's degree, and he's telling me that my accreditation, you know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Your accredited degree isn't as good as Kent Hovind's
Because his is
Bible
Christian and
Mill
mine,
degree.
and
That-
his is Christian
that's a complete
because
joke.
his is Christian and mine isn't.
Yeah.
You know
I
that
mean-
bullshit?
Has he read Kent's thesis?
Oh my God, it's a joke. Oh,
Yeah, the only college that he actually legitimately went to was a community college, and after that it just went downhill. They were all diploma mills. Especially his crowning achievement, Patriot Bible University, which is a trailer in the middle of the frickin' desert. And I think his own church, actually. I think he owns that thing.
I find it offensive that Kent Hovind calls himself a doctor.
Well, he's in the phone book.
He's
But
in the
maybe
full-
Can you legally call yourself a doctor? Okay, let me rephrase that.
no.
If you have an honorary doctorate, okay, can you technically use that in front of your name?
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay. That's what I thought. I was just,
I mean, Bill Cosby had a lot of fun with it prior to the allegations, but
yeah.
not really, not exactly. I mean, and so did Maya Angelou, but you're not literally a doctor. I mean, it's more like an award, if not anything.
Right.
I mean, sure, the stuff you did in your life is of academic achievement, so we're giving you this, but it doesn't literally mean you're a doctor. I mean, that's kind of going too far.
I find it cool that I have more credibility than Kent Hovind.
Well, the dude cheated on his taxes. Of course, he got more credibility. It's like pretty obvious.
Any random sperm in my left testicle has more credibility than Kent Hovind.
Yeah, if I were to ever actually talk to him, I would absolutely not call him doctor. And if I did, I would use the voice of what's her name in
He's lucky.
Little Shop of Horrors.
He'd be lucky to be called Mister, if anything. I would really just call him a piece of shit. He sells cancer pills and shit.
I would call him Mister, but I would never.
Well,
call him.
actually, from what I understand, those I can't remember what it was, but I think those cancer pills he sells actually has lethal components in it.
Yeah. They're cyanide, basically.
Yeah.
Like vitamin B17, that bullshit that has no medical treatment or worth whatsoever, according to the science.
As far as I'm aware, it's technically illegal to sell that in the United States.
Well, no, hold on. You see, what you do is you take cyanide, and you try and trash your body so the cancer won't want it. A bit like Jeff Goldblum's idea in Independence Day was to start littering.
Yeah. Death cures cancer pretty fast,
I rather like George Carlin's idea. The more cancers you have, the healthier you are, because they'll just all fight each other and kill each other.
Okay, let's see.
Deadpool must be extremely healthy.
Okay, let's see. What do we got here? We got okay. Oh, this is a fun one. Yeah, who doesn't love Pat Robertson? Okay, Pat Robertson is up here. Yeah, well, his life ending. That'd be fun, but.
Oh, no. I said his wife. You said who doesn't love Pat Robertson, and I said his wife.
Oh yeah, that's true too. She's kind of. I mean, same diff. I mean, she's waiting on stuff. Anyway, quick clip. Pat Robertson, quit your voodoo job over voodoo. Coming up quick.
Says, I'm a 60-year-old widow. I lost my beloved 47-year-old husband to cancer in November of 2012. Afterwards, the only job I was able to get was a part-time job at a local store. Recently, the store introduced voodoo doll keychains, each with its own special powers. I thought about refusing to wait on a customer who was focused.
This is is just like I heard about some Saudi fucking police apparently are taught to fight magic.
I mean, like, okay, let's wait before the crazy BS gets said. Come on.
Too much out of this.
No, you're not. You know, God can give you another job. There are many jobs. There are people looking for good employees, for people who are intelligent and hardworking and loyal and all the rest of it.
Yeah, so you could take their money with your crazy nonsense.
I'm sorry, what powers are these dolls infused with? I mean, when I heard these were voodoo dolls, I was thinking you could have a keychain voodoo doll, so if you're walking around the shops, like that guy in Starbucks who was in the line who just took too long to order his shit gonna taste like crap cup of coffee, and you kind of like, you can take it out and just sort of stab it in front of him just to get the instant karma. But not like, it's gonna make you get a job?
Yeah, well, hold on. That's rapid speculation. Hold on. Let's deal with this.
But with that, you don't want to give your heart over to voodoo or magic arts. If they're doing a voodoo doll, the next thing you know, they'll be having little dollies you put pins in and can bring down curses on. You never know what's next. Why should you have to do that? I mean, God can give you a job. I know it'll be painful, but God can give you a job. And hone your skills before you jump. Make sure you got everything in order, and possibly you can line up a job before you quit that one.
So is he arguing that his magic spells are better than the voodoo doll's magic spells?
I was gonna say that too. I was like, don't trust in magic, but say these magic words, and a special being will give you another job.
Well, hold on. But you've got to give him a burnt offering, yeah, and a blood sacrifice, and then you've got to consume things as if they are his body and his blood.
I
gotta be honest with you. I assumed he went senile years ago, like, and he just going on like, crazy old ramblings.
I still think he died a few years back, and they just hold a dead guy up there and poke him with a stick in the back and make noise or something.
No, what you don't see is that he's got earbuds on and he's basically Weekend at Bernie's, except instead of walking, it's just saying crazy stupid shit.
I tell you what, you really don't know.
You almost spit on your computer, dude.
Yeah, when you said who doesn't love Pat Robertson, I was in the middle of a drink and I almost lost it, man. It's funny too though when he says, he's like, there's plenty of companies out there that would love an employee who is loyal. It's like, hello, you're telling her to not be loyal to her company. So obviously, if she accepts your advice, she's not a loyal employee.
By the way, if this woman is so desperate, Pat Robertson, you are worth $100 million. You could probably part with a little bit of that and help her through. Just saying.
But that's money that God gave him. He shouldn't have to give that up.
Yeah.
See, he wouldn't want to have to give her that money and then have the tax burden put onto her, because that would be unfair. Because if he gave her something, there would be value. And in the state of Virginia, where he lives, well, maybe they'll let you,
He's got enough to pay the taxes, too. Come on.
No, he doesn't have to pay taxes because he's got a special magical friend.
Her.
I mean, if you charge him taxes, then you'll make his special magical friend cry, and when that special magical friend gets a bit upset, whole species tend to get wiped out. So it's best not to upset the magic man.
I know. Then we get hurricanes and 9/11 and
all
kinds of crazy
that's for the
shit.
gays. Don't.
Yeah, all the gays will be running around just fucking everything.
Give God the first portion of your income, not after the deducts, not after the Social Security and all that. The first portion. Don't take all that out saying, I'll give God a little what's left. No, got to give him the money before the outtakes.
Either you have a very long history of listening to this stuff, or you listen to ICP.
Yes.
One of those two. Yeah. One of those two. Okay. Gotcha, Juggalo.
Oh, fuck, Juggalo. I was on a Greyhound bus for a day and a half with 2 juggalos, a juggalo and a juggalette. Oh fuck, that was.
Right, here's one test I have for Christians ever, especially right the Catholics. If the Pope had come out and said, "Yeah, we molest children in order to stop the apocalypse," yeah, to stop the Antichrist, would they allow that to be a valid excuse, or would they be kind of upset about that?
I don't see why they'd see anything wrong with it. It's just reality.
Well, they want the apocalypse to come, some of them, so they'd be mad that you're doing that for that reason.
Yeah, but there's some of them who'd be mad just because it's the Pope and they goddamn Catholics.
Does anybody remember that Louis C.K. routine about him going to like his Catholic priest and like I don't know exactly how that went down, but I'm sure you guys know about it.
Not ringing a bell.
Well, it was a funny routine. If you search for like Louis C.K. in the Catholic Church, just watch that. It's pretty funny.
Yeah, the best religion bit I think I can remember offhand is probably the sky cake. If you guys have seen that.
Oh, sky cake is awesome.
What's that?
It's a Patton Oswalt bit. He compares the various different religions to different desserts, and basically, if you're good and wholesome while you're here, then when you die, you'll get to have all the cake you want with a magic guy up in the sky. That doesn't seem like a very good plan, but hey, the guy said, "Hey, I like cake," and that's how it happened.
But no, it's got to be sky baklava.
Right.
Then you had the dessert wars, and everybody fuck up each other over which dessert they wanted.
What? Wait, I've just seen the funniest thing. Has anybody else heard about this? Apparently, the Ku Klux Klan have opened their doors to Jews, homosexuals, and black people in a bizarre recruitment drive. Rebranded Rocky Mountain Knights.
I want to join.
Strong.
I'm going to be the first Jew in line. I want to join.
Is it me, or are the KKK worrying about diversity too now?
Rocky Mountain Knights.
See that's what happens. That's what happens when you let those fucking SJWs into the KKK.
Do you wonder if there was kind of like a KKK gate, like Gamergate of the KKK?
I wonder if I would have to wear a Star of David on my gown to signify that I'm Jewish.
And instead of a hood, you could just put a giant yarmulke on your head, you know.
Yeah, there you go.
All I can think of is the Dave Chappelle skit.
Just put on a pointy yarmulke and you'll be fine.
Yeah, there you go. I think with a mask.
I think Jews would be the perfect people to lead the KKK. I mean, they're already obsessed with holding money, so they're just like dragons.
What?
Oh, nothing. I was going for a whole thing about. Never mind.
Sound better in your head.
Chinese.
Yeah.
Sorry, man, I missed it.
I think I fired up the delivery. I'm far too tired.
A likely excuse.
And now for something completely different.
Here's something you really like. So, who's going through withdrawal now that football season's over?
I've been going through withdrawal ever since the freaking Niners were fucking losing every game.
What were they, like 3-13? 3-13.
No, they won 5. Give them a little credit. They won 5.
Okay, 5. Okay.
But a shit coach and shit players after they got rid of everybody else doesn't help much.
No, it doesn't.
Back, what's up? Dark Carnival, what's that OCP stuff?
Yeah, ICP.
ICP, yeah. And I just gotta put this in there just because it came up again, but it's funny because I used to listen to ICP all the time. Just because it was funny. You know, like no other reason. Just it was funny shit to listen to. But the last album, not the last album they came out with, but the second to last album they came out with, The Wraith, they said in their last song that they actually believed in God, and all that other shit was just like their metaphors of believing in God.
Yeah, because if that's the same album where they're like, magnets, how the fuck do they work? And starts putting that to the spiritual and that God
Yeah,
controls.
you know what really pissed me off about that song more than anything, the song Miracle, is because in terms of rhyme quality, in terms of flow, I think it's actually one of the best songs they've ever done.
It is. It's a very good song, yeah.
But as far as what it's about, it's just fucking wretched.
Right. Yeah, I think that is one of their best songs of all time.
I like the Boogeyman. That's one of my favorites all time. Boogie Woogie Woogie. It definitely.
I haven't listened to them since the 90s or so. Like, I've heard that Miracle song.
Yeah, I have all the Joker cards and Hell's Pit, but I never got any of the other stuff.
Right. Yeah, I still have the CDs, the Joker card ones.
You ever look up Juggalo Wedding on YouTube?
Do I want to?
It's funny.
I'll put that in my memory bank. Maybe I'll check it out later. But man, right now it doesn't seem like something that I would freaking actually want to see.
No, well, yeah, we're talking about Juggalos. I just figured I'd throw that in.
My imagination is probably better than what's on that video.
Yeah, it's a train wreck though. It's.
Oh.
In other news,
what have y'all covered so far?
oh, a stupid lady that thinks Obama's a gay prostitute when he was a kid, running for Department of Education in Texas. Frickin' some other crazy shit. What was that one? David Barton, Glenn Beck's buddy, his stupid fucking book that doesn't make any sense about Thomas Jefferson. And then the shit that we've been talking about, which was, well, we were talking about it and then we ran off into a tangent about Pat Robertson. Him being just completely no longer in control of his mental faculties. Most likely.
Can I just read off something real quick because it's about Tommy Hall and I think this is pretty funny. He's kind of losing his shit right now. Let's see.
When is he not?
I don't know. He's kind of butthurt recently now.
Yeah, read it up.
Okay, yeah, I'll keep making a living, paying my mortgage, and paying for your food stamps. You keep doing what you do best. Okay, make sure he wears a condom, though. Okay, weird. Then he starts getting really crazy. I find it ironic that a homosexual, government-dependent, jobless mooch dare says anything about me and my job, and/or taking it in the rectum. What? All this is directly at me. It's like, hell weird. He should be thanking me for his food, free Obama phone, and free health care. If he's going to college, doubtful. I'm paying for that too, in addition to my own daughter's bloated tuition. Little projection there, Tommy. Like, especially the whole taking in the rectum thing. I'm a top dumbass.
Yeah.
Okay, anyway. I'm not butthurt. It's no problem. I know the conversations about whores and sluts. I don't even know what he's talking about at this point. Got you all worked up and thinking about receiving some anal. Doesn't take much to trigger you, huh? I'll try to avoid using such words in the future so you homos don't get so excited. He is so fucking nuts. He's going full Ted Haggard. I mean, it's funny.
It seems weird. Like, does he not realize that he lives in something called a society to where everybody benefits from everybody else? Like, that's kind of what we do as a social species is we try to help the other people, generally speaking, with our actions. So like when construction companies build stuff, it's generally not for them, it's for other people to use that, and then they
And it's a small percentage that actually abuse the whole system, right? Like there might be here and there cuts, but
you guys heard of
it part of their life, or
did
or
you
are
guys
so
catch?
low on the rung in
Hold
society
on,
right at the moment they need the help.
Hold on a second. I mean, you guys caught some of the Ted Haggard-ish things that he was saying in there. I mean, he was going full Elton John in those responses.
Yeah, we know he's scared of. He's a homophobe.
Nah, I think he's being a little bit too imaginative there.
Well, I don't know. He talks about butt sex and homosexuality quite often and quite a lot.
So we all know
getting them blow jobs and stuff.
Scared. No, we all know he's scared. That's what I meant. He's scared that he might actually be.
I don't think he's scared. I think he's pretty damn excited.
Yeah, I think he's found out at some point that he actually likes something up his butt and thinks that makes him a homosexual. And unfortunately,
I'm a homosexual.
Well, that would explain why his head is up there so often.
Well, that could be the case too. But yeah, I think he's trying to come to grips with that. I don't think he ever will, but yeah, he definitely talks about it an awful lot, even in conversations where it doesn't normally come up. Like he'll just throw shit like that out there, and it'd be like, why are we talking about this now? We were talking about seafloor elevations, and now you're talking about taking it up the butt, dude. What the fuck?
Well, that's what all gay people talk about. That's the only thing they talk about is butt sex. You know, I mean, clearly, I mean.
Yeah, he's explained to me before that he wants clarity with life, and that's why he goes with the God answer for a lot of things. He thinks somehow that makes the world not this chaotic place for him because he has an answer. It doesn't matter if it's a good answer. He just has an answer, and
yeah, everybody wants an answer. It doesn't mean we all get one.
Well, that's what I see him doing with the homosexual thing. He tries to label and box people on these things so he can box them up and make order of things. And,
I fit in no category.
right. And under his, I'm a homosexual. Even though I'm married and have 4 kids and straight and all this, I'm homosexual too.
Obviously, you're just hiding the fact that you're one of those homosexuals. You're probably a plant. I see that flag there. Gee whiz.
Yeah, I see that, Hello Kitty. You can't hide.
Yeah.
I miss a punchline.
Not really. It's done. There wasn't much there.
Yeah, I'm just not funny. It's okay.
I found it funny.
Oh well, yeah, you were actually very funny. I was, I didn't want him to make him feel like he miss something. You know?
Yeah, he missed it.
Yeah, actually, I'm getting the next clip ready.
I do find it sad though that it's not just Tommy, right? Like there's huge amounts of the population, at least in the U.S., that think similarly.
Oh yeah, I've seen people that make Kim Davis look left wing.
Right.
By the way, after some of the double talk on that issue, I refuse to refer to Huckabee as Mike or Michael until he those are grown-up names. Until he proves he can think like an adult and speak as one, he is Mikey Huckabee for me.
Don't even bring up the disgrace in my state.
Yeah, well, we're talking about we're focusing on a different candidate right now. Donald Trump. Apparently, Brian Fisher has a view about him. That's pretty funny.
And this is really just for people who believe in the reality of spiritual warfare. That's all. This is just for that people. If you don't believe in the reality of spiritual warfare, you don't believe in Ephesians 6, and this next couple of minutes is not for you. But my point is, you look at Donald Trump, and there is something to me that is unnatural about his level of support. Something there that you cannot explain based on the world that we can see, based on natural causes, based on what is rational.
And it's not really, you know, dumb hillbillies are scared of Mexicans, therefore say something crazy and offensive about Mexicans, like building a big wall up against Mexico,
And Muslims.
and also have the Mexicans pay for it somehow, or China, and keep going there, and you pretty much got it. Not really that hard.
I heard a poll. I think it was like nearly 40% of Trump supporters believe that white people are the superior race or something.
Don't doubt it.
Yeah, but let's see. I
What's
just
that
think
noise?
Where is that coming from?
I don't know.
That was kind of loud.
Yeah, but anyway, the point is, it's an argument from ignorance. But let's see his conclusion anyway.
And logical and understandable. There is something that is beyond the world of nature that's going on there to prop him up and to create this.
Could someone deal with that? Monsanto, is that you?
Yeah.
Anyway,
he's on a bus or something that's really loud.
Yeah, just keep muted.
Obsession that people have with him, and this exaggerated support for people that really ought to see through what he's about. It's a mystery to me that evangelical Christians in particular would be so enamored with Donald Trump. We know that not every spirit that's out there in the unseen world is a friendly spirit. There are spirits out there that mean us harm, that mean our country harm. And politics, this power comes from God. Let's not forget that every bit of political power comes from God. Who is going to be interested in getting their hands on the levers of God's power? It's going to be Satan. He's going to be all over that. He's going to try to make sure that the man of his choosing has God's political power to exercise, and we as believers need to have our eyes open to that possibility, and we need to be praying as intelligently and clear-headedly as we can that God's man will be elevated to the White House.
I mean, okay. Okay, Brian, maybe next time focus on facts rather than just spout out what you believe is true, because that's not always going to guarantee anything. I mean, you can speculate rapidly on about almost about anything. I mean, that doesn't mean it's automatically going to be true. Like, for example, there's a vampire standing right behind me. It just happens to be invisible because, it makes mirrors and monitors act crazy. I mean, does that explain anything?
His speech just shows how much they don't actually believe and live the way as if they really believe that stuff. That we can wield God's powers, that we can take control of it, and that it's gonna.
I mean,
it's just everybody in the world.
It's just idle speculation. It's not like it has written nothing really of. I mean, absent of personal experience, you can't really be sure of that. I mean, it's just you're not really dealing with the criticisms of the guy. I mean, he's a moronic bigot. I mean, he's been known to get stuff factually wrong, talking about, oh, the Muslim community was celebrating 9/11. Where's the evidence for that? Nowhere. Oh, basically, we're gonna build a giant wall and we're gonna attack ISIS and blow up everything. Well, how do you know their exact locations, and how do you know you're gonna actually do it accurately without getting other people pissed off at us and new enemies?
Management.
God will take care of it.
It's gonna be huge. Speaking of which, I gotta go bang my daughter.
I think what's funny about what he was saying too, though, he's sitting there quoting the Bible and stuff, and it's like, have you ever looked at Romans? Because Romans 13:1 says that all authorities have been established by God. So obviously God's not going to establish Satan's agent as an authority unless that's what he wants to happen.
Right.
So if your worldview pans out, then don't worry about the elections because all authorities are, put there by God.
And while we're at it, what does the Bible say about being rich and pursuing wealth?
Well, Jesus said that's not a good thing, because it is easier for a camel to pass through the eye of a needle than a rich man to enter heaven.
And that if you are wealthy in this life, you will get your rewards here and be denied in the next.
Yeah, being rich is bad.
I cannot. That's one thing I cannot. There are a lot of things in the Bible that are contradictory, or seems like you can go both ways. But money.
That's what I'm saying. Since he could basically speculate on this, okay, let me do it then. Okay, what is Bernie Sanders? He's a socialist Jew. Now, where does that sound so familiar? Mark. No, I was gonna go with Marx, but yeah, Jesus sounds just about right too. Yeah.
I just go back to what I said. They spout this stuff and they may believe it, but they don't live their life as if their beliefs match up with reality.
I cannot understand that. That's one thing I don't quite get is all these rich Christians. If I were a Christian, being rich and wealthy seems to be like the last thing that I'd want, considering all what it says about just pursuing wealth and being rich.
Hey, can you guys hear us?
There's a little nuance on that, but I'm not going to argue the Bible.
Yeah, it's kind of.
You can't hear us, can you?
There's that background.
We can hear you, MMA. There's just a lot of noise in the background, man. Wow, that's loud. That's loud.
Yeah, you gotta deal with that, dude.
But yeah, I think a lot of the times their opinions affect what they believe instead of letting what they actually should believe affect their opinions. They start with the thought of, hey, it would be nice to be rich and wealthy and stuff like that, but then they read the Bible and go, this says something opposite. Let me tailor that to my opinions, and then I'll make that my new belief.
Well, one of the things I saw, I can't remember who it was, but some organization that's following the elections. They had someone who was following one of the Republican candidates, someone who was following one of the Democrats, switch who they were covering. And one of the things that they found interesting, the person who was covering the Democrat, now going after the Republicans, is how vague all the issues were. They weren't based on like specific items. It was more just vague concepts that just happened to agree with me. God, the Constitution, what was the other one? Patriotism, stuff like that, just vague ideas that really aren't defined. While the vice versa, they were surprised by in the Democratic race how small, how personal, and how issues-based everything was.
Yeah, because with vague ideas, you get huge swaths of the people of just taking it how they mean it. So if you use a word like patriotism, well, that means a lot of different things to a lot of different people. So as long as you stay vague on it, you've got all of them.
Right. Well, and a lot of times people say, talk about this is constitutional, that is constitutional. But to a large extent, as much as I hate some of the rulings, if the Supreme Court says something on that matter, that's pretty much the definition of what's constitutional and what isn't.
Yeah, at least it's the system we've set up. I mean, it boils down to a lot of the time the education system too. Because so many of the voters are so unintelligent that they don't understand what they're voting for, and they'll often pick a single issue, hence single issue voters, and they'll just go based off of that and then be like, oh, well, now the country sucks. How did that happen? I voted for the right guy because he was, anti-abortion.
Right. I voted for the guy who's going to protect my guns, but somehow the economy's shit even after he's elected.
Yeah, people will vote for the shittiest guy in the world as long as he's against abortion.
And it's so funny because so often it's actually against their, broader interests. You know, like every other piece that they're, lobbying against or lobbying for, it's against the, Joe Q public or whatever. It's against their better interest. But they don't care because they believe in the Bible. So that's my candidate.
That's the maintaining the
Yeah.
status quo.
And with that, we're moving on. Okay, what else we got? Quick article, I guess, ESPN. Okay. In February 2016, in an interview with Ellen DeGeneres, Ronda Rousey admitted the thoughts of killing herself went through her mind after her knockout loss to Holly Holm in November 2015. Oh, okay. Dropping the link there. Guess she took it too seriously. Sounded like she needed to chill with the blunt.
Well, you gotta kind of understand. I mean, it's probably the first time in her life that she'd ever gotten her ass kicked like that. You know, I mean, and it was in front of the whole fucking world, right? And that had to be a big thing to fucking swallow, you know. And you know, it wouldn't be to say, you know, she thought of suicide and stuff. I mean, I don't know how deep she went into that. Like, she actually had a plan or something like that. But yeah, something like that would definitely might send somebody into a, you know.
Hang on, let me read this real quick. Okay, former UFC champion Ronda Rousey said she thought about killing herself in the immediate aftermath of her loss, yada yada. She's 29, appeared on the Ellis DeGeneres show on Tuesday and spoke openly about her loss at UFC 193 in Melbourne, Australia. The championship fight ended when Rousey went down in a highlight reel knockout after a kick to the head from Holm. Rousey was transported to a local hospital afterward. Honestly, my thought in the medical room, I was sitting in the corner. Oh, okay. Quote, my thought in the medical room, I was sitting in the corner and was like, what am I anymore if I'm not this? Rousey said, literally sitting there thinking about killing herself in that exact second. I'm nothing. What do I do anymore? No one gives a shit.
Yeah,
so what do you guys think of that?
It's what you'd expect from someone losing their identity that quick or thinking that they've lost their identity that quick.
Also after taking an extreme blow to the head. So luckily she came to her senses.
I think it's hilarious a little bit later when she talks about like basically what brought her out of it, and she says, "I looked up and saw my man Travis standing there. I'm looking up at him and it was just like, I need to have his babies. I need to stay alive." Really?
That's and why you fit in, I guess.
I don't know. I think part of it might have been, you know, I'm not all conspiracy theorist or anything, but you know, there's a lot of people that think that UFC was just propping her up the whole time, you know, like giving her easy fights and stuff like that. And maybe that was part of it. Like the UFC kind of tried to build her up as this icon of, you know, this unbeatable figure, and they didn't let her in on the joke. And so when she lost, then she was just like, oh my gosh, I'm not the best?
You think they set her up for an ass kicking?
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, you know...
Probably set her up for a payday, you know? I mean...
Well, yeah.
I mean, that could quite possibly be true, because it wasn't, to her last two fights before the one she finally lost that anybody even gave half a fucking chance of her even, you know, not being knocked out in the first round, you know? So...
And she was all in the news about the women's issues and stuff like that, talking down about the feminist stuff, which is all, you know, great and wonderful. But then, you know, all of a sudden, bam.
Like I said, man, I mean, it's probably the first time in her life she got her ass kicked, and she had to do a little bit of searching.
But that's the thing too. Like, I think that ends up being cultural today, because you know, you hear all the time, oh, you can be anything, you can do anything as long as you put your mind to it. You know, you have no limits and all this stuff, and that's what we're feeding everybody nowadays. Yep. And then when they find out that they do have limits and they can't do anything, they freak out.
Yeah, that's why I'm not surprised at it, and that's why I don't think in cases like that the person's necessarily crazy. I mean, what do you expect?
Yeah, but I makes me wonder what G-Man's gonna do when he realizes he's lost a rap battle.
I
You
mean,
can't lose a rap battle though. That's impossible.
he can't rap for anything. Like he is. I mean, he's honestly a stereotype that disproves another stereotype.
Yeah, but Wolf is a fool who needs to go to school and read your Bible, do what it says.
Or else you'll drool. Boom.
You know,
Bam.
he might do better if he doesn't have any kind of beat to try to follow along. That's just my suggestion for him.
Spoken word poet G-Man.
Yeah, as long as there's no rhythm or beat for him to try to follow.
Yeah, because that French guy massacred him.
The crickets outside my window massacred him. I derailed. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. I mean, I think the conclusion from the story is that, I guess in particular cases, it's understandable, but little bit of like psychological help and evaluation wouldn't hurt either, and like critical thinking too, with that, like just to reduce these things.
A little bit of realism in people's lives would help, man.
Yeah, that too.
I still want to blame her recent blow to the head, honestly.
Can I bring up...
Otherwise, she seems pretty clear-headed.
Or it's just all publicity to make people feel bad for her. Could be that.
There is that. Could be.
Well,
take the opportunity to call attention to a real problem for the rest of the world.
I mean, she just hosted Saturday Night Live. She's doing commercials. There's one on right now. I mean, not literally right now, but so yeah, she's getting paid.
Let me switch gears on you for a second. Artist, I guess, with the next grid, I've been trying to bring up the topic. I linked to the page, and the title on it says, "Apple is selling you a phone, but not civil liberties."
Actually, I got an article that I think is pretty interesting, straight from Raw Story. An Idaho Senate just approved a bill to let public teachers use the Bible to teach biology and geology.
Oh, fuck.
Yep, they're trying to corrupt secular America again.
Say that one more time, Wolf. What was the...
Hang on, I got it right here. Dropped it in the ether. An Idaho Senate panel just approved a bill to let public teachers use the Bible to teach biology and geology.
Jeez. We got to this discussion not too long ago on G-Men's channel at one. I think Artist might have been there. And on another channel at one point, because I have 2 kids in high school right now, and one's fixing to go into high school within the next year. And I have no issue with religious studies and creation and all this shit being taught in school, as long as these aren't taught as science or biology or history even. Like they need to be about the religious, not about those specific topics. We got into, I think G-Man had brought up, because we have classes about government that go into communism and democracy, go into all these other things, but they're not part of main.
Yeah. I mean, in this particular case, they're using it to their advantage. The Idaho Republicans are pushing a bill that would allow teachers to cite the Bible as a reference book in science classes. The Senate Education Committee has given preliminary approval to a measure introduced by State Senator Cheryl Nuxall that would permit teachers to use the religious document for reference purposes in classes such as astronomy, biology, and geology. A Democratic senator questioned why the bill was necessary, because teachers are already permitted to highlight biblical allusions in history and literature, but Nuxall said a statute was needed to highlight the Bible's importance. Quote, "It's to clarify to make sure teachers know their rights," Nuxall said. "A lot of teachers are scared to use the Bible." Nuxel's measure resembles one adopted last year by the state Republican Party, which argued that the Bible should be another tool in their toolbox. State Senator Janie Ward Engeling reminded Nuxel that her measure might allow other religious texts to be used in schools, but the GOP lawmaker insisted that the Bible was embedded in American culture.
Yeah, see, I don't send my kids to school to learn about people's beliefs in these core classes, right? Maybe in others, but not in. They don't learn science, the belief of scientists, right? Now, if you want to have an American cultures class or something and bring these in, maybe. I have no issue with it, like I said, being in a religious studies class, though.
Yeah, the only reason that the Bible should be brought up in a science class or a biology class or anything like that, or a geology class, is to go, look at this shit that this dumb book says. How stupid is it? Now let's move on to the actual science.
What did I miss?
Idaho is trying to let teachers use the Bible to teach geology and biology.
Oh, yeah, I saw that on Secular Talk. Disgusting.
Yeah, that's and Wolf made a good, or whoever in that post made a good point. Let's bring in, if you're going to do that, then bring in other religions.
Yeah, like let's teach the history of the flying spaghetti monster or the Satanic Temple.
Well, Idaho is one of those states that doesn't have very many big cities and very sparsely populated in many areas, and people like to be left alone, and they don't like to be told what to do, and so yeah.
Bring it up in a sociology or an anthropology class, right? If you're wanting to bring it in because and only restricting it to the Christian Bible because of American culture, then bring it in that type of class.
I actually have sane friends in Idaho, and they're pissed.
Yeah, my grandfather lives in Idaho. I don't know how sane he is, but
my grandparents lived in Boise for fucking ever, and they'd probably be all for this shit. So.
Yeah, I don't see when you get to the point of forcing people to learn your beliefs just because you think they're true. That of how weak you're weak, that must point to the truth.
Well, like I said before, when this kid gets taught certain things as science, right, or biology or whatever, and then he or she goes to apply at a fucking college and tries to learn about more science, they're fucked,
Yeah, imagine a world with the implications. If that's even what the business is turned to, we'd have like theological science labs, and like I can't imagine.
Yeah, because whether they like it,
look like.
I mean, whether they like it or not, the world doesn't fucking work like that. Whether they believe it or something, and geez, it's gotten ridiculous around in this country anymore. I mean, there's just some whack job fuck nuts that are running for president and running for city councils and shit that want to make church mandatory. That woman in Texas wanted to make church mandatory for everybody. And it's like,
wait a minute. Make church mandatory for everybody?
Yeah, it was like a little over a year ago or something. Some stupid fucking lady in Texas somewhere, I think it was, tried to slip in this thing that would make it mandatory for everybody to go to church. And
well, that's like I say, forcing people into these things. It's beyond me that the truth is self-evident. It shouldn't have to be forced. And when your beliefs meet up with reality, and I don't know about you, but reality seems the way to go.
Oh, yeah, I get that. Yeah, sure.
But you'll get a lot of this stuff, and eventually they get sent up the ladder, eventually ending up at the Supreme Court, if need be.
Yeah.
And everything usually rights itself.
Well,
I mean, it's sad, and you got to wonder what the motivations are behind some of these pieces of legislature. If they're just testing the waters, or
right.
Finding the boundaries.
And this is
push the limits now and get them a little further, and then years down the road we can push them a little further. And
But
Yeah, once you
ultimately,
get
then what they're doing is setting precedent too,
right.
and that's the double-edged sword.
Well,
It really
and this
depends
is
on which way it goes.
and this is also important for those of us who are parents to, keep track of what their kids are learning in school. I try to make it a point, when my kids come home every day to go, hey, what did you learn today? And try to, get to them, hey, what is the stuff that you were taught today? And I like to expand on stuff that they learned. If they say, oh yeah, I learned about gravity, I'd be like, oh cool, well did you know this also works with gravity? And then blow their minds. But if I hear anything like,
Hold on. Who's the annoying guy?
no idea.
Hey.
Abe, is that you?
Huh?
Is that you, Abe?
No, it's not Abe.
Oh. All right, fine. As long as there's no dick pics, it's fine.
Yeah, I wouldn't
Yeah,
do
my
that.
channel flag.
But yeah, if I were to hear anything like, well, they talked to us today about how the global flood, made these freaking layers of sediment and stuff like that, I would have to definitely pull them aside and be like, look, that's nonsense. Here's what happened, and fucking explain it to them. And if I heard that, I would go to the school board immediately and be like, what the fuck is going on with you?
Yeah, I'll pull it if they bring stuff like that. I ask them about it and ask them how does that make sense, kind of thing, and see if they can even make sense of what they're reading.
It's an old story altered over time. But speaking of which, news story from the news, nationalpost.com. Atheism actually older than Christianity and Islam, but Romans tried to erase it. New study shows.
I was just reminded. I'm talking to another person. Just reminded what Thomas Jefferson said, that in every country and in every age, the priesthood has been hostile to liberty. Now, that says a lot.
Mm-hmm. All right, but with this new study, to its inheritance, it is the antidote to centuries of ignorance and superstition, while to its detractors, it is the product of latter-day decadence and materialism. But a new Cambridge University study argues that atheism is in fact one of the world's oldest, well, actually, let's say views of non-belief, long predating Christianity and Islam. The belief that there are no gods are, well...
That's right. Yeah, that's
yeah,
what.
Sure. Let's just say strong atheism, just for the lack of a better term. Strong atheism was common in the ancient world, researched by Professor Tim Whitmarsh, professor of Greek culture at Cambridge, concludes. But ancient atheism was effectively written out of history when Christianity became the official religion of the Roman Empire after the reign of Constantine in the early 4th century, heralding a new era of state-imposed beliefs, says Whitmarsh in a new book, Battling the Gods, which collates the evidence of atheism in the Greek city-states. The study breaks the widely assumed link between atheism and progress or modernity, but also rejects the idea that faith is a natural, instinctive impulse.
I don't think they've even established that theism or belief in some kind of supernatural is a natural instinct built into us to make up gods.
I mean, honestly, if you study evidence back, it was more like the earliest beliefs that mankind ever had was, I think, an animistic type belief, and animism in the terms that everything had a soul, and then it sort of got more diverse from that, sort of diverged from there, kind of more into.
How do you separate that from just a developing imagination?
More into polytheism and then monotheism and then stuff like that over time. I don't know. It's with the cultural evolution of people. Like it tends to break off and diverge and become more complex over time. It's sort of like evolution, except with culture.
Even with the ancient polytheistic cultures and systems, you have to imagine, and there's evidence for it, that not everybody believed them literally. That they were way more thought of as metaphoric.
Right.
Way more people thought that.
Representations.
Yeah, that's what I say. You can't separate this from us developing an imagination. Like, I
Which is
would have
not-
to say the imagination developed before these inherent beliefs supposedly were there.
Which is not to say that there was more literal thought previous to that, but I think
Right.
obviously the idea of atheism, the kind of atheist I am, started much earlier than thought.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, that's why I say I don't think they've established that people are just born inherently believing in something like that. That seems to get passed around a lot. That's what's said. But even if you took someone today, you would have to raise them in a vacuum, right, and see what kind of ideas they come up with.
Right. Yeah, even though I'm an atheist, I participate in pagan activities because they're fun.
Right.
On a related note to legislation, I saw, and still can't believe this, that Michigan finally got around to outlawing oral and anal sex. Jeez, took them long enough.
As far as I know, sex with animals is still allowed in Michigan.
Well, they'll get to it probably someday.
At least to get rid of those goddamn homosexuals.
You can look it up on Wikipedia. You can look it up on Wikipedia in which states and which countries still sex with animals is allowed. It's in where was it?
If I love the animal and the animal loves me, then what's the problem?
Well, yeah, if you have consent.
Well, we have to define certain new laws for what do we do when the aliens land here.
We have sex with them, of course.
She didn't say no.
Michigan's the only state that you're gonna get away with that. It seems like in the future.
What do you guys think about ancient aliens? Like, do you think that's possible? Ancient aliens?
I don't like the use of the word possible here because mostly I think it's bullshit.
Yeah.
They have,
It could be
have,
possible.
like, whole
Right? We
documents.
could have all came into existence 2 seconds ago. I mean, that's possible.
Yeah, actually knowing what is possible and what is impossible is a fairly difficult thing to establish.
Yeah, they have like YouTube videos of like ancient aliens and like them showing like how it's real and stuff.
Oh, the History Channel has that. The History Channel's got that show.
Yeah, it says like we're like the Earth was like, and we're like aliens were first here first, and then we just evolved from them, evolved from those ancient aliens.
Yeah, so do Raelians. They buy that stuff too, and also some some ID people kind of like latch onto that ever since Richard Dawkins was quote mined wrong. But yeah.
I know a Raelian.
Wow.
Yeah, okay. He's a trip, but he's a German artist, so yeah, he gets a pass.
I mean, I'm not even saying that I know absolutely that there is no other life on Earth, but not on Earth, in the universe. But even if there was, the idea that they designed us, I mean, that's kind of far-fetched. I mean, if they did come here, they're sure as hell not coming back because time speeds up in space. Well, actually slows down in space. It takes like millions upon billions of years. But
well, there's just no evidence for it.
But the whole thing is like the universe is hostile to life. That's the point. I mean, you got like small instances like bacteria or like the water bear surviving out in space and stuff like that. But it's not Prometheus. That's bullshit.
Yeah,
there's just no evidence.
Yeah, the time it would take. I mean, even the freaking planets that we found that look like they might be suitable to life are so far away that, getting to them in any kind of reasonable time is nonsense. So unless somebody has somehow figured out speed of light, faster than speed of light travel, or wormholes, or something like that, then the whole idea just devolves to nonsense.
And if there is somebody, maybe they don't want to fucking find us, man. Shit. Who says we're special?
We have
And maybe, can someone read that article I put in the side chat for me? My computer's frozen.
Yeah, I gotcha.
You
Hold
got
on a
people
second.
like Arcane who just can't imagine that the pyramids were built by people without some kind of advanced alien technology.
No, they were built by
built
by Joseph in order to store grain.
No. I know the truth. That's the new X-Men movie. But Elephant, could you read it for me?
Yeah, no problem. Okay, so people who believe in psychic powers have fewer analytical and logical abilities than skeptics, a new study has found. Believers and skeptics aged between 18 to 25 were tested on their memory accuracy, memory retention, and analytical abilities, the British Psychological Society reports. Stephen Gray and Dr. David Gallo from the University of Chicago tested skeptics against believers between ages 18 to 25, all with the same years of education and academic performance. The paper was published, and yeah. Okay. So, however, skeptics outperformed believers in evaluating arguments, logic tests, and vocabulary tests. The difference was not due to low motivation, as both groups scored the same on the need for cognition. Psychologists concluded our cognitive testing showed that there were no consistent group differences on tasks of episodic memory distortion, autobiographical memory distortion, or working memory capacity, but skeptics consistently outperformed believers on several tasks tapping analytical or logical thinking as well as vocabulary.
Yeah, my ex-wife is a kook.
So while the research does not prove poor analytic abilities lead to believing in psychic powers, the results are consistent with the theory that the lack of these skills makes the person more prone to these beliefs. An interesting result of the survey was that psychic believers scored higher on life satisfaction. So basically what this is saying is that
ignorance is bliss.
Exactly. People who don't have an analytical mind are happier but dumber. Fantastic.
It implies that you have to be dumb to be happy.
I mean, apparently, hold on. I mean, like if you have simpler pleasures, like getting your future like told by some old bat with, like a snow globe and a little bit of Parmesan smoke, then yeah.
Or Miss Cleo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Miss Cleo.
Wow, people still remember Miss Cleo? Is she in prison?
Of course. I have no idea. I know, though, if I had supernatural powers, that would make me very happy.
For real.
However, I am analytical enough to know that I don't, and that makes me sad.
Well, Elfin, your other kin, right? You have the soul of an elephant.
I'm not otherkin. Don't do that to me, please.
I do want to talk to someone who's otherkin, like legitimately.
I can almost understand otherkin that are like tigers or wolves or stuff like that. Okay, got it. You've got a wolf soul. Fine, whatever. But when they're like, I'm a unicorn, I'm a fairy, I'm a dragon, whatever. Like, no, stop. You're not. Those don't exist. You can't possibly be one.
Speaking of unicorns, that argument in G-Man's, Ryan, that was totally killing me.
Which one?
The unicorn argument in G-Man's hangout the other day.
What did he say about it?
Totally killing me. Oh, it's just the unicorn mentioned in the Bible.
Like what?
Oh yeah.
The
So
rhinoceros.
stupid.
Rhinoceros doesn't have a horn like a unicorn that is supposed to be a horse with a twisted horn in the middle of its forehead. First,
I mean, are they?
biomechanically, anatomically
Hold on.
impossible.
Let me ask a question. Are there even rhinos? Are there even rhinos in the Middle East, or is that just a bunch of bull?
The point is, though, that it's not what the Bible says. It's poor translation into unicorn.
No. What I was getting at is, as I said, a unicorn is supposed to be a horse, preferably white, with a horn sticking out of its forehead, somewhere just above its eyes, where on its forehead, and it's about a meter long and twisted. Yeah, it's biomechanically it's impossible to mount a horn in the middle of your forehead. Anatomically, it's impossible. It will break off by the first where you bump it, and the beast will dead. Second, a rhinoceros, what he probably thought that was meant, it's not a horn from a rhinoceros. It's hair that's grown together.
Yeah. I remember. I think I remember in Islam they say Muhammad like rode a flying horse to heaven and everything like that. I'm like, I mean, at least they got their mythology accurate. I mean, but it's more obvious that that sort of had like Greek influences and stuff like this. Just that, it was more monetized later on the Judeo-Christian Islamic side.
I think it's called a shasudu, isn't it? Shasudu. Anybody know?
Shidu.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, but that's like a different thing. That's coming from the Sumerian. Also probably close to the Sumerians. Right. But that was like a different type of beast. I think that would guard like the Temple of the Gods or something like that. I could be getting that wrong, but whatever.
Some type of winged sphinx.
Yeah, there's just in case anybody wanted to know. Yeah, rhinos are South Africa. They're not in the Middle East, and either way, they have two horn-like objects on their face, not one.
Well, there's a couple different kinds of rhinos.
A rhinoceros has one, and it's not a horn; it's hair that has grown together.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we get it.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
The thing mentioned in the Bible is not a rhinoceros either, though.
Indeed, it's not a rhinoceros. It's bullshit.
Like the rest of the book, yeah.
They just make stuff up as they
Oh, okay. I got the accurate description. Okay, a she-do is a winged bull with a human face from the myths of ancient Babylon. They're strong, large, and they operate as protective deities of old and shit. Weird.
Right. Well, so isn't that what Muhammad is supposed to rode? I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, like these are just ancient stories, man. Who cares?
Right. I imagine that the influence, though, is from the region in Babylon, Sumer, whatever.
You know, I was watching something, and I can't remember what the hell it was. It was somebody's channel, I think, on YouTube, and it was really awesome. But I'll have to look through my history and post it. But it was talking about the fact that every creature that humans have made up are biologically impossible. Every one. Pegasi, all that stuff. Like, none of them could actually happen.
Not King Kong.
Sure, pretty much.
Could be real.
I mean, the closest thing that we've ever actually created that is in our mythology, I think, is a chimera, and that's like a loose interpretation if you're that artsy with genetic engineering. But other than that, yeah, that's That's it.
Yeah, if you take out the
That
tail,
that
the
and
beak,
a,
the wings.
that and the giant squid. But that's it.
Well, yeah, I'm not talking about like large sized of stuff that we already have. Like that's not really a creation. That's just saying this bigger giant ants. Ooh. But yeah, any kind of thing that we've said, oh no, like this manticore or whatever, like none of that stuff could actually ever happen.
You wait till we find a crocoduck. Then you will eat those words.
I think that already existed, but if it did, it's been long dead and extinct.
We're gonna find those bones.
Now the only dinosaurs we walk alongside are smaller than us, and we call them birds.
The crocoduck thing always brings to my mind. One of the videos I was watching, it was talking about what a kind is, and it was like, well, any 5-year-old can tell you what a kind is. You put 3 pictures up and a banana, and whichever one they can't pick out, that's what a kind is, and it's like. That's so fucking stupid. And I always think of the example of the echidna, the porcupine, and the hedgehog, because all 3 of them look like they're exactly like brothers. Like those are all the same kind. They have to be. They look exactly alike, but none of them are even close to being each other.
Yeah, it's all about the DNA. Like that, it sell it more than anything else.
But you throw in a platypus.
So what's the topic? Is anything?
No. We're actually gonna take it off air. All right.
Get off the bus.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, well, we'll keep it open. This has been Pandemonium Live, episode 12. I'd like to thank everyone for being on. Thanks and see you later. Ooh.